Hello everyone, here again to another episode of the live stream here at Mikey's Flightdeck. So I hope you can hear me now and everything works fine. So let's have a look into the stream and who's online now here. So we have Symbold, hello, nice to have you here. Frederick, hello. I think I have told you that I will contact you, but YouTube doesn't allow me to contact you directly. We have talked about monitors last stream, I think, so it would be nice when you mail me directly if you still have to give away these monitors. Hello, Solar Phoenix, here to check. Hello, Bernard, hello, Crisscross, nice to have you here, guys. He has made all these images for this stream. Hero to check, hello. So, okay, good that some people have found the time to join this live stream. I thought about some topics now here, and I want to say the first thing, now it has been 3 years ago since I've started Mikey's Flightdeck. And that's the reason why I can see this happy birthday behind me. It's not my birthday, it's the birthday of the cockpit today. Yeah, 3 years, and as I can say, it has been some work here now, and some things have changed in my basement now. But when I started all this panel making, I wasn't here in this room as much as I wanted to, and so the changes concerning all this shell and the hardware are very rare, but when I am now starting this overhead, you will see some changes here. So, Vic Schaefer, hello, nice to have you here. So what has been happened? What has been happened here last year? I was on the FS weekend in November, and if you haven't seen already, I have a video about this in my timeline. You can watch this to get some impressions of this fair. I had the chance to talk to some people, some makers, some exhibitioners, and also started to make interviews, and this was really new to me, because when you make an interview not in a studio atmosphere at home, I think then you don't have a second chance to when when something went wrong. So it has to work out fine at the first try. And yeah, so in my last interview, the camera focus wasn't set correctly, and so I had a little bit of loss in the quality of the material. But I think most of the time it went well. And it was very interesting to meet some of you in real life. Some of you have come here to the meeting point in the cafeteria and talked to me, and it was very interesting to hear something about your projects you are making and the ideas behind this, and I hope I can use some ideas in my own work. Yeah, that was it. So I will be there next year. It's not yet next year, this year too. You can save this date in November in Lelystad in the Netherlands when you are in this simulation hobby and you have time to come there, visit the FS weekend. It's always a good show, and you can meet very interesting people with all interests, not only big airliners, but also general aviation, or if you are in the military simulation hobby, then you will find people there who can help you out with your projects. So we have a question here from Solar Phoenix. How do you keep your enthusiasm to keep building as mine keeps going? Yeah, sometimes it's a big problem, especially when you are working for very long times on the same step. For example, these panels. I had in my mind a roadmap what I can do and how it can be done, but then there are very many details that can hold you back from doing what you want. For example, how can I make this big switch shafts and show it to you, and then you're thinking about this several days and you're not making a video, and you're seeing the release date of the last video is more and more in the past, and you have to come out with a new video, and this can be very frustrating sometimes. Yes, and also there are some drying times when you are painting things. So the panel has to be painted and then it has to dry, and you have to paint very little things that you need for the next step, but they have to dry overnight, and so you are losing another day, and this can be very frustrating. So what am I doing to stay with my enthusiasm? I think I'm looking at videos of finished cockpits, and always when I see those videos, I say to me, I want to fly in some of these buildings too, and the only way to do this, when you don't spend money to get in a professional simulator, is that I go back to work and keep on working on this dream. And also, from time to time, there is a new comment under my videos, and this also helps me to stay motivated. So don't hesitate when there is a new video to write down your opinion to this video. This also helps me to keep on working on this project. Here to check. What do you think about Flight Simulator 2020? Yes, I'm not too what's the word? I think yes, how to say this? It is really hyped on YouTube, this flight simulator, and especially when it comes to gaming projects, you have to be very carefully what you see in a trailer and what you get later in the game. And the trailer of the Flight Simulator 2020 are looking absolutely amazing. And some of these techniques that you are reading out there in the net, that they are somehow connected with some map providers and download the environment map from the internet while you are flying, and so they can be very detailed with textures on the ground. This can be amazing, but how much performance of your computer will this need? And do you have a computer that can run this? When you think back to the old flight simulators, it was always the problem that the flight simulator was over your hardware that you have had in your PC. And so I'm carefully with this flight simulator. I will look at this, and I think I will buy this when it comes out and test it, if it could be a good base for a simulator. But yes, we will see this when it comes out. And I think Microsoft is very good when they make a release date. They hold it most of the times, I think. So one thing I had written down, I have some topics here written for you to bring you a little bit information on top in this live stream here. I had from the last stream is what tools do you need or come in handy to start your own simulator project? And that depends. First of all, it depends on the budget you want to. With the budget you want to go into the simulation hobby. If you have a very high budget, then you can spend much money for your tools. Or if you have a low budget, then maybe you only make, for example, for the overhead, a big sticker on a plexiglass, mount some cheap and small switches in, and that's it. But I think when I could speak out some wishes for tools, then I think a CNC is something that can make the simulation building life for you really easy. And when I finished my CNC, I was in this state that I think there is nearly nothing that's now impossible to build for me. It all depends on the graphics and on the drawings that you can go with which you can go into the CNC. But now, as I have finished the first two panels, I think I can do this overhead on my own. What wasn't clear when I started this. And also when you need to cut out some parts, wooden parts, for example, very exactly and precisely, then a CNC comes in handy, and I'm using it for many other tasks in my shop for general woodworking. Another thing is a 3D printer, and this comes in more and more into the community. Many of you are making parts for the simulators with a 3D printer. I think 3D printed parts can't be used most of the times as they come out of the printer. You have to spend time to finish them. For example, sanding them, filling them. There are some epoxy fillers that can smooth the surface. And this is something you have to keep in mind. So you don't think you can load a file into your 3D printer, push the print button, and it comes out ready. For very small parts, this can be possible, but not for big parts. And also a laser cutter or an engraver. What I've seen when I've done the panels, it takes long time to engrave these panels. For some panels, the CNC has to work an hour or 2 hours for example, these all annunciators I've done. The CNC has worked 2 or 3 hours for one row of annunciators, and laser cutter can be much faster. I will also try out some other engraving tools the next time, which have a little bit bigger tip, and so I can remove more material at once, and I think I can reduce these engraving times down to 30%. But I will see when I will make this, when I will make the next panel. But also a laser cutter can cut out things more precisely, I think, than a CNC. But it is very difficult to set the focus of a laser cutter. This is something you have to keep in mind when you are thinking about buying such a thing. I'm thinking of building my own laser cutter in the future, but we will see what will come. So, some other questions here. The dog. Hi Michael, do you have a girlfriend? Guys, really? I had, and now I'm married. And I think you have seen my daughter in some of my videos. So, hi from Nicaragua. Hi, back to Nicaragua, Ramon. Flashu, how powerful your computer will be? I don't know. I have bought this computer in 2018, and I have bought it new when my old motherboard collapsed, and I have an i7 processor in it. Don't ask me which exactly. I would have to look this up. But in the gaming world, there has been nothing that the computer hasn't managed until now. I think, yes, the flight simulator will be something that can be hard, but I will see. I'm not thinking about buying computers now. This will come in the future when the cockpit is nearly finished and I'm starting to think about this outside view. Because for every testing with Prosim software or all these electronics here, a weak computer will do this. No. Frederick Plenner had a question. How many layers do you use with Acrylic One? Yes, for those who don't know what Acrylic One is, and this is the filler I'm using most of the time. It's a resin and a powder, and you mix it together and then you get a filler. And you can mix a stronger powder into it, so the mixture gets stiffer, and you can also start modeling with this filler, for example. So how many layers of Acrylic One I'm using? It depends on the task I'm doing. For example, these 3D printed knobs I've covered with filler, and there one layer was enough. It was thick enough, and I had to send away most of the material anyway. But for all these covering here of the windows and for this ceiling here and also the eyebrow windows, I had one layer to bound the glass close to the foam, and then I covered one thicker layer over it with 6-stroke B. It's an addition to the normal resin, and it makes the mixture a little bit stiffer. So I brushed a second layer on it, sanded it, and at the end I'm using the ATP powder and making a really stiff mixture and yes, repairing all the scratches that keep on the surface, and fill these separately to come out with a nice and smooth surface. The dog. Do you like the tip? Which tip you mean? From the CNC, I think. Yes, I'm using a 0.1 millimeter engraving bit at the time, and I will go up to a 0.3 millimeter engraving bit. So I can engrave much faster with my CNC. Solar Phoenix, it's a massive learning curve. Yes, that's true, especially for me, all these electronic parts. I come from the computer and programming sector, and so software and programming is not so a big problem for me, but all this electronic stuff is really new for me. All I've done most of the time was 2 cables, and you have power and ground and make something with it. But all these things here with the panels that came there, this is really a stiff learning curve. And I will come to this when I'm announcing the next panel I will build. I will talk about a little bit in the stream later. What have we here? Sebastian Gneig, why you want not use some finished panels for your overhead? They are already painted and you only have to stick some electronics in it. Yes, I could do this. There are 2 reasons why I don't use finished panels. First reason, I would have to buy them. So, okay, when you think you have built a CNC and you have to use much time, and time is money for some people, then it could be cheaper to buy an overhead. Yes, this could be true. And I don't want to buy these panels. I think when you buy a complete overhead, there are many things you have to buy, and there comes some money sums together. And the other thing is like the makers of model trains, for example, the way is the goal, and I have fun doing these on my own, and every time prove to me that I can do this, and also prove you that it is possible to make everything on your own. Maybe someone out there has also this question. I need this panel and I want to do it. Is it possible? And I want to show, yes, it's possible to do something like this. Yes, these are the 2 reasons why I don't buy finished panels. And I think there could be a third reason. I have started making this shell here, and now the configuration is as it is, and I think a finished panel wouldn't fit in here. Because they could be some centimeters wider or smaller, longer, for example. Okay, when I would have thought I want to buy a panel, then I could plan all this shell here to fit to this panel. Good. But I haven't done this, and so for some panels it's easier for me to make a panel on my own and not change all this hardware stuff here to fit the panel into. So, the dog, when you fill it up, does it stay moist? I think you mean the filler. It hardens very fast. It hardens in under an hour, and then you already can send it. And when you use this ATP powder, it hardens even quicker. And there is also an addictive, well, what is it called? That you can give into this liquid so that it hardens even faster. And then it's hard within, I think, 15 minutes, and you can start sanding it. But for me, this is sometimes too fast because I have no time to model out some scratches. Peter Müller, your opinion to the flight simulator? My opinion. Yes, I've said this before. I'm waiting for it, and I will watch out and wait what will come there, and then I will decide what I will do with it. I think it's very hyped these days, and you have to be careful, especially when you see very good looking trailers for a game, I think. So, Frederick Planner, do you know how you will realize the mechanics for the yokes or pedals? No, I don't know it now. I have thought about it, yes, and I think the most used method is, for example, for synchronizing these two yokes, for letting a steel cable run through and meet somewhere in the middle here somewhere under this cockpit in the middle, and the cable is running, and when you are turning one yoke, then the other yoke is turning. I think I will make a steel construction which I will weld together, so when I push one yoke forward, everything is stiff, and so the other one is going forward too. I think this will work out when the steel construction is stiff enough. Yes, but this will come in the future, I think, after the overhead and after the pedestal, maybe even after the MIP. And this is because when I will start with the yokes or pedals, then I will have to build a base under this whole simulator. And this will also be a big project, and I will have to know how much space I will need for the cables running under the simulator and so on. So I think I will come to the next step in the cockpit. I will show you what will be the next step here. So I think we can go away with this now here. And the next panel will be the electronics panels. And so come on here over here. I have prepared the picture so that everyone knows about what I'm talking here. Here you can see the electronic panel on the overhead, and this will be part of one of my next videos. And I think it's not too complicated, and there is not much new stuff which I haven't had in my last panels. You can see we have the 8 position rotary knobs, on off on switch and on off switches, some annunciators, which I think I have already prepared. You have a push button. And here is something that is new, and these are, I will do this with 7 segment displays. I think in this picture here it's a display, but I will do this with 7 segment displays. And this can be done really fast. I could mount this displays in a wooden holder or a prototype board, for example, but I want to learn something new, even for me, and this will be PCB making. I will try to mount these 7-segment displays in a PCB, which I will make on my CNC, and I will try out if I can do this with my CNC, if it is fine enough or accurate enough to route out all these small lines and and the holes what you will need for a PCB. And so I can show you how to make those PCBs and how to use the software. I think I will use KiCad it's called for this. It's an open source software. Yes, and there we are again with a steep learning curve. Yes. So this will be the next video. The next video will be about the new overhead frame. You have seen I've made the 2 panels, and I still want to make the electronics. Right, this will also be a video before this. I have to connect these to the software and all this electronics, so this will also come. And I have made a new overhead frame, which you can see here. This is the design for the new overhead, and this time it's not a dummy. This will be, I hope, this will be the overhead I will use later in the cockpit. And you can see these points here. Here I'm measuring the holes I will need to mount all these panels. So, and this will be also something new. I had thought about how I can fix these panels on the overhead frame, and I didn't want to screw them directly into the wood, because then every time you remove the panel you will wear out this wooden hole, and sometimes in the future it won't hold anymore. And so I have thought about another technique of fixing these panels there, and I hope this will work out, and then you can see this in the video, so stay tuned. I don't think I've seen this before anywhere on other projects concerning this overhead panel. Oh, but I won't say it now, only if this doesn't work. So, what have we here? Again, some questions. Solar Phoenix, yes, it's your own creation. It doesn't have to be perfect, just has to look right. Yes, that's right. If you're satisfied with it, then it's okay for you. And I think my measurement for making me satisfied is high enough for me. So the panels, even I've made, I have took several attempts to make these panels, and yes, I think I'm very satisfied with the results I get until now. Hey G, do you consider to change to the Max? You are at a stage that it can still be done, or do you wait until the Max is certified to fly again? Will this be in the future? The Max flying again? Okay, so to end this, no, I'm not planning to make a 737 Max out of it, because I don't like the design of the MIP of the Max. They have a cool trolley quadrant with this fancy fuel cutoff switches, but the MIP are now two big monitors. Everyone who doesn't know, I can show you. These monitors here are smaller, and in the 737 MAX these are two big monitors here, and I think this makes the MAX looking more like a computer and not like a plane. It's not as bad as in the Airbus, I think, where you fly a computer, but some good old look of the classic 737 gets lost with it, and so I will stay at the 737-800 NG. And I don't know if you, if any one of you was there at the FS weekend. I've told about at the beginning of the stream. Prosim also has now the 737 MAX in program, and yeah, the funny thing, when they installed it on the first day on the exhibition, it didn't work, and I think they had to hear very often this joke: you could have known this when you come here with a 737 MAX. So hey Mike, Thor from Budapest. Hello Tibor. All right, yes, Tibor, I think we have seen your cockpit here in the cockpit show. So everyone, if you haven't sent me pictures of your cockpits and projects until now, then keep in mind I have also the cockpit show running on my channel. You can send me pictures of your builds and I will show them here to the community. So don't hesitate to send me pictures, write a little text about it, and you are part maybe of the next cockpit show. Oh, Fernando had the question: are you an engineer? Your work is incredible. You seem to be able to do everything, and with such perfection, which most of us can only dream of. Well done, sir. I can only describe you as a genius. Okay, I wish I could do everything. There is very much I can't do, and I'm always looking on YouTube and seeing all these talented guys, especially when it comes to electronic things. And really, I'm an absolutely noob in electronic things. So I hope you won't laugh at me when you see my first designs concerning yes, the organization of cables, for example. I want to make a part. I don't know if it will be a separate video or part of a video, the organization of your cables in the cockpit. You know, all these rat nests where all these cables are everywhere and you don't know which cable belongs to which switch and so on. I want to order this a little bit and keep it clear. And so I hope to give you some tips of making this. Phew. Get ready for lots of wiring. Have finished my overhead and it took some time. Ian, yes, lots of wiring. This is what I'm waiting for. I think there are so many switches and lights that have to be connected. It's an absolutely nightmare, especially for a noob like me. Yes, but I think because I'm making these panels in small parts and I will make every panel fully finished, so building the panel and then connecting the panel, maybe this can be a little bit more structured for me. Yes, and guys, I can show you this here. This is, for example, you have seen this, what is this? The flight panel, okay, the flight panel. And as you can see, it's a solid unit here with a backlighting plate mounted. Everything is fixed here. You have all these switches, and you can take this panel as it is and mount it into the overhead frame and then connect all the cables. And I have to think about, I hope, some intelligent or efficient connection method. So when I will have to dismount the panel and remove it from the overhead, so I don't have to solder out every switch. I hope I can get some ideas of doing this. There are some connectors which some people use. All the cables are running into a connector and then connected with the main bus, I think, of cables, something like this. I will see. Fernando, yes, I also prefer the NG, so that's good. Revo Truck Simulator. We have truck simulators here? Okay, nice to have you here. Maybe we have your truck in the air soon. Hello Mikey, how are you? I'm from Brazil and I admire your work a lot. I am learning a lot with you. Keep it up and God bless you and all your entire family. Thank you and stay with God. Thanks Revo. I'm doing my best to inspire you all here in the community. So let's have a look into my topic list, what I wanted to talk about here. Yes, there is one topic that goes around in the cockpit builder scene: virtual reality. There is often the question, why do you all build all these hardware cockpits? Why do you buy these expensive panels? This is everything you can do in virtual reality. Just put on these VR glasses and you're ready to go in every cockpit you want. So, guys, what are you thinking about virtual reality? My opinion, I think virtual reality can't replace this good old building of a simulator. And there's only one reason, and I think this is the main reason why virtual reality doesn't work for us. And this is the feeling, the haptic feeling of the knobs. You try to grab a switch and turn it. In virtual reality, you don't have the feeling of the switch on your fingers. There is a video out there on YouTube where someone combines virtual reality with a real hardware cockpit. And he puts on this VR glasses, and of course he only sees the virtual cockpit and doesn't see his hardware cockpit anymore. And he can use the switches because he knows where the switches are. So he, yes, you can say he's absolutely blind and knows there is a switch you want to use, and then he can use it. He has this feeling at his fingers and use the switch. But then you have to know your cockpit very well, and you don't see your fingers in the VR. Maybe when you have these gloves, I think it's called the VR gloves, but they are also, they don't give you the feeling of a real cockpit. And this is why I think virtual reality doesn't work for this simulation here. Maybe for, I think for space games, for example Elite, Frontier or something like this, where you don't want to build a hardware cockpit and you move from one plane or spaceship to another every time. This can be absolutely amazing, but not here for a hardware cockpit. So here, what have we here then on questions? Solar Phoenix, have you noticed how all of the great flight sim build channels are all about 8 years old, and I wonder if they are all still running or not? And yes, there I've noticed this too. When you see, especially the well-known Norwegian 737 project, the last video, one was a real last video. He has made some streaming, but really building was in maybe 6 years ago, I think. And there was a high period of building cockpits, which started 2006, I think, 2006, and up to 8. There was a peak of making cockpits, maybe because better computers were out, or this was a time where prepared came onto the market, maybe, and you didn't have to use the old Microsoft Flight Simulator anymore. It can be, but yes, they have these simulators and don't produce new material, and you don't have to forget, making videos on YouTube is a very hard business, and I'm aware of that every time, because I could be so much wider and faster in building this here when I wouldn't film this all. And so I can't, for example, build a prototype, and the prototype is good, for example, from the joke, I'm building as a joke, and just building the other one on the same evening. No, I have to think about how can I film this, and which steps I can show to you. And sometimes I'm holding me back building things because I wouldn't be able to film these steps anymore when I would build it at the evening I'm building the first thing, for example. And this is work many people don't want to have, and time they don't want to invest. And so they aren't producing new videos. And maybe they aren't able to produce good flight videos. So when you have finished your cockpit, what can you show then? Flight videos. And this can be really boring for the audience, just looking at you flying 1 hour, 2 hour to another airport. So you have to come in with a good concept of showing this to the community, so they keep on watching your videos for longer times. Maybe this can be a reason why there aren't any new videos of great builders. So what questions have we here? And Tibor, and feeling of build is important. Yes, the feeling I've said about virtual reality, yes. That's Solar Phoenix, that's the 1737 project that was superb. Yes, the Norwegian 737 project. I think he could have been much bigger on YouTube when he would have kept on making videos. But you don't know the private reason for this. I think he has now changed from a truck driver to being a commercial pilot again. And this is something you have to arrange with your family, and then I think there won't be much time left for making YouTube videos. And you don't have to forget, I think every live stream he has made was absolutely good, and they showed different camera angles, absolutely amazing, and that is something which catches the audience. But I think when you look at this whole electronic stuff and all this technique behind this, there are many people which have to operate all this technique. Then it is not possible for a one-man show to do this. Well, this will also be something from where I have to think about in my cockpit project in the far, far future. Okay. So, the truck simulator. I play a little on the X-Plane 11. I have some equipment from Flightdeck, but one day I want to assemble my own instruments. That's how every one of us is starting. With a simulator on his home PC at his desk, and then there comes the moment you want to have more. Yes. Now, so, Flugzeugfreak, hello. Are you using Prepared? I'm using Prepared on my computer, and I'm thinking about using it for the simulator. But we will see what Microsoft will come out with, and if it's good and solid running on a computer, maybe I can use this. We will see. Good luck for me. I'm not now at the point where I have to decide which I want to use. I just can work with simulation software, with a system software, and I can finish all my electronic, and then I can think about the simulator which will make the environment. Here to check. Do you play a flight simulator on a PC? Well, you build your cockpit. Yes. Not much these times. And this is also the reason why I don't know many of these panels as good as I would want to. And I have played a little bit on Prepared and with the new 737 from PMDG. I've made some flights with it. Absolutely amazing. But I'm thinking, when I want to go back to this flying business, I have to invest time there, and I have to decide, do I want to invest the time flying for my own on my PC, or do I want to invest the time building this cockpit and showing things to you? And there I have decided I want to go on here with this cockpit project. And but this doesn't this don't need to be bad, because when I have finished this cockpit, I don't know anymore how to fly it, and then I can learn it and make videos how I learned flying a 737. Could be funny and interesting for you. So, hey G, I have to go. Thanks for the live stream. Yes, hey G, good evening to you, and thanks for being here. Ian, do you plan to use Prosim or some other avionics suite? Yes. As you have seen in my videos, Prosim is supporting this channel, and so I'm planning to use Prosim and try to explain this software to you, so you don't have to fear working with such a big software suite. And yeah, this is why I'm showing very many settings in this software in detail. So I want to have you in the position of knowing and what to do in the software, and so you can decide if this is something that you can use or not. So, another thing, a topic I have noted, written down here, and there we're coming back to the panels. These panels I've built. I have said in my last video, I have painted these panels separately. The top panel and the both underlying panels I've maxed out and sprayed the sides, and here, even if on the flight panel here, these things here inside I've painted separately. Why I have done this? I was afraid that these panels would stick together when I just spray over this sandwich of 3 layers here. This is very time consuming, and I want to try out a different method. On the next panel I will just screw them together and paint them over. When I can't loosen them anymore, or the lacquer will crack at the edges, then I can tell you that this isn't the method you should use. But I will try this. And another thing, what I don't like, maybe you can't even see this. I can try to show this to you in the camera. I hope you can see this here. There is a little color difference here of this back panel here, of this back panel here, and the front panel. It's a little bit lighter, and this is a little bit darker. And it's the same RAL code, but even with the same RAL code, when you have different manufacturers, the colors are not looking the same. Very sad, but true. And so I will try this other technique. So one question from the last live stream was about the hardware of my Solidis CNC. And guys, I finally made this. I have written it down, what I've bought for this CNC. And when you go to my website and looking to the assembling video, not the video, but the site where the assembling video is shown, then I have written down there a list of parts and where I've bought them. And you can read this out if you are planning to build your own CNC. So there was the question, and now finally I fulfilled this mission. So what have we here on questions again? So Ian Huddy, Prosim is so expensive. Yes. It's, you have to say, it costs much money, yes. But you have to keep in mind what you get for this money. It's not a software that's getting older and older. They are developing this software and keeping it up to date. They are always fixing bugs in it. And so you get a lot of service for this. Yes, but when you only want to control an MCP panel with it, or only some small panels, then this can be a little bit oversized for you. But when you want to control a full cockpit, then you should think about what you can do. There's also an alternative. Many builders are using X-Plane and the Zibo mod, and it seems like this runs good for these builders. Some builders are using the PMDG. I also thought about using the PMDG when I started this cockpit project, but there is a lot of performance that goes into running this PMDG software, which you are missing then when it comes to other systems in the cockpit. So you have to test this. So, Tibor, which solution use for panorama, projector or monitors? I will use projectors, so I'm planning to use projectors. Monitors have a much brighter image and I think really clear image. So every time I'm looking to cockpits which use monitors, it's a very clear image they have. And even if there is light inside your cockpit, a dark scene is shown very well on the monitors. The projectors, for projectors you need to have most of the time a dark room, and you also have to buy another software which is called the warping software, which can project and also calculate the image for projecting it on a curved screen. Yes, but I will try to use projectors in a far, far future. So when everything here is finished, then I will think about this outside view. So, Cockpit Connect, developing my own software, a lot cheaper. Yes, as I said, when you have the ability to develop something on your own and this works out good for you, then do it. I also tried to write the code for an Arduino to connect with Prosim, and I've also written something that connects to PMDG, but it didn't work so well that I would say it will work without any failures. And every time there are failures in the behavior of your code and you have to invest time again to find them, it can be really frustrating. But when you are a good programmer and can do this in a short time, then do it. And this is the way you should go then. Ian, can you list the switches and caps you have used? There are many different ones and no single source of truth for the buyer. Yes, I can. Yes, I will write this down and I will make a list of switches, and I think I will make these lists on the websites for all these panels. Then I will make this, or maybe a separate catalog for switches. Yes, I will make something that can help you out. Ryan, I'm building a A320 sim, but this channel is fantastic even for that. That's good. That's good. Thanks, Ryan. Yes, I have also looked on A320 projects for making these outside walls, for example. And I think even if the windows aren't the same on the A320, then I think the technique of making those windows can be the same, and we all can learn from each other. So I would be very proud to show an Airbus cockpit. So again, the Cockpit Show on my channel. Send me pictures of your builds and I'm showing this. Even if it is an A320 and even if it is a Boeing 737 MAX. I promise, I will show it. Another an A330 fan. Prosim is expensive, yes, but it's worth it. Everyone has to make this clear for himself. So what have we here? Again, any questions? Late to the stream, congratulations on 3 years and appreciate all your videos, Mike. Thanks, Ryan. Michael, I'm going to play Euro Truck and keep listening to you at the same time. Okay, then good luck with your truck driving. And okay, I will come to the last topics for this evening here now. And this is something concerning the files I'm giving to you in the member section of my website. And some of you have asked for special DXF files for all the text. For the new panels, this was the first time I have done the engraving text with an underlying DXF file. For my annunciators and the EFIS panel, I have placed the text directly in estlcam. What is estlcam? It's a program which I use to control my CNC. And there is a function which can place text in it. And so I haven't drawn all the letters in the DXF file. But this can be a problem for you who are not using estlcam for controlling your CNC, or need other files for a laser cutter or something like this. And so it's just a question, how do you want to have the files? Are you satisfied with all these estlcam files? Do you use it? Do you use estlcam? Or do you want every drawing I'm making as a DXF file so you can use it in any other ways? This would be nice to get a feedback, maybe in the comment section later down under this live stream, so I can sort this out. So, any last questions for this evening here? A320 fan, do you remember Tim's 737 NG sim? We built a new one together, a bit more professional. Your measurements help a lot. Yes. To the other audience, Tim is a German builder, and he has made also a 737 cockpit, I think, with 2 or 3 other guys. They also have sent pictures for the cockpit show here. So you have built a more professional one. Good to hear. I think you can come and visit my sim here, so we can talk together about our plans now. So tell Tim and all your friends we can make out a date and visit the sim here and talk about it. So the truck simulator. Michael, you understand electronics and programming too? No, I've said this before. I understanding programming better than electronic. Electronic, I'm an absolute noob, and this will be very interesting what will come out when I'm designing my first PCB for these 7-segment displays of the electronic panel. And so I try to keep everything as simple as it gets, so that it doesn't overwhelm me. So, congratulations, and happy 3rd birthday to your sim. Yes, good sim. Truck Simulator will build a CNC router just like yours. Yes, and this is absolutely worth it to buy the plans for this CNC. Go to holzmechanik.de, and he is selling these plans for the CNC, and you can adapt the plans for your needs. For example, I have extended my a little bit longer so I can engrave longer panels, and now I see I should have made it also wider, because when I'm thinking about the MIP panels, they are too big to be routed out with my CNC. Okay, maybe with a bigger laser cutter, then I will be able to do them, or with or to make them in parts, for example. Yes, A320 fan, nice to hear from you all in the future. So guys, it's 9 o'clock here in Germany, and I want to keep all the things time boxed here, 1 hour for the stream. Thanks again for having you all here at the live stream for the 3rd birthday of the cockpit. I wish you a very good evening, and I hope to see you all in upcoming videos here on Mikey's Flightdeck. Again, send me the pictures of your cockpits so I can show them in the cockpit show. It doesn't matter if it's a full cockpit you are finished with or just a part you are very proud of. For example, an overhead you have made yourself, a yoke, pedals, or something like this. And even some knobs. When you are good, for example, in drawing with Fusion 360 and 3D printing, and have made some cool knobs, send me a picture of them, write a little text about you and the project you have made, and then you can be part of the next cockpit show. So then, until the next time, I will say, I hope we'll see us soon back on the flight deck. Good evening to you all.